Hello everybody, Travis here for Tpull's Corner, and this deck is called Defiler Beatdown. It sounds kind of dirty, but it's not, it's just Magic the Gathering. Part of it is named for Bouncer's Beatdown. Does X damage to target creature or planeswalker, and if it dies it gets exiled. And let's see, if I attack with the Evolving Adaptive, and we use the ninjutsu with the Coiling Stalker, it gets a counter. And the Stomper comes out. I think we use all of our mana here and give a +1 counter to the Gardener. Oh, hello. You got one, I got one. And now I can just bring this down. I have to pay the life, right? There we go. That seems like fun. Now, as long as they don't bring down 2 spells at once, I'll be okay. It's a mirror match already in a showdown. And we call the deck Defiler Beatdown. What happens if I do this first? We just pay the regular there, and then we do the Beatdown. Oh yeah, that felt good. Alright, then we just attack with all of these things. All they can do is trade 1 for 1. I feel good. I feel good about where we are. I feel good about using Defiler and Beatdown together in a combo right after I tell you the name of the deck. That's like destiny or something. As usual, I hit record and we have a great first run, and it might all turn to trash and ashes in a second, but let's go ahead and show you the deck. The original deck that I made a few days back, you might recall, is called Sparse Grounds. It had a lot of these same cards in it, and only 16 lands. And we did pretty well in the opening stretches, but at the final battle, we came up with a mirror match with a deck I suspect had the regular number of lands, but they had an additional card that I love, but I don't usually put in a lot because we've already had it in a lot of our decks. And that is Augur of Autumn, because of the Coven. Normally you can just look at the top card of your library and you can play lands off the top of your library. When you start to control 3 or more creatures with different powers, you can also cast creature spells from the top of your library. So the reason that deck outpaced mine was because they could just keep getting creatures off of their library, as opposed to just the regular card draw that I was doing. So they had, let's see, we have 4 Evolving Adaptives. They had those. I have a Tpull Ukrainos Reborn, and they had those. What else did they have? I know they had a Vorinclex. We've got 2 Vorinclexes here. They definitely had a Silverback Elder, and they had a Defiler of Vigor. They had all of these for sure, if I can get that on there. And they had Augur of Autumn, which I don't think I had. I didn't have that in my deck. So the stuff that may or may not be the same that's in the rest of this, 4 of the Bouncer's Beatdowns to use our damage to just take out their creatures and planeswalkers. The 1 Deathbloom Gardener. 4 Gwenas so that we can get out the big stuff. 1 Tandem Takedown so we can take the the power of 2 target creatures that we have. Armored Scrap Gorger that we can use for graveyard hit if we need to. Tap it and exile target card from a graveyard. Beatdown, so a little companion piece to Bouncer's Beatdown. 4 the Coiling Stalkers to add counters. 1 Cosmic Hunger from March of the Machines. It also does a deal damage kind of spell. And 1 Master's Rebuke that does a deal damage kind of spell. So about 7 of those total. For Mana Help, 2 Reclusive Taxidermists. When there's 4 more creatures in the graveyard, they get +3/+2 and become 4/4 creatures. What else? 1 Doomscar Warrior. Again, March of the Machines has got Trample, 4/3. When it does combat damage to a player or a battle, you get to look at that many cards from the top of your library, and you get a creature or land card. And the backup mechanic means that you can actually give some other creature that ability for the turn that you summon the warrior. And finally, Springleaf Avenger, a 6/5 Insect Ninja with Ninjutsu. Whenever it deals combat damage to a player, you get to return a target permanent card from your graveyard to your hand. So if we can sneak that in, that would be cool. 4 Hunter's Mates to do additional card draw, 2 Filter Runes in case they have special lands, and we got a Besiege to take out artifacts and enchantments. And of course, if we do well with the Silverback Elder, that's also good for destroying target artifacts and enchantments. And so we've got a good amount of creatures that help give us extra energy. And this time I have the full complement of lands. And we have a way to sort of do a little additional card draw if we can get Augur of Autumn down and get Coven going. And I'm going to file this away under the playlist decks that beat me, just because this was a deck that beat me. When you're putting together these decks, we have a tendency to chunk in groups of 4 a lot, so that you have 9 groups of 4, 36 cards total, and then you got your 24 lands. And Augur of Autumn is whenever I'm doing green, I tend to look at Augur of Autumn. And sometimes I just leave it out because, you know, if you're, say I was playing green and black, there's certain utility cards that you're going to put in there, maybe 3 chunks of 4, so like 12 cards that you'll use for removal or interaction and that kind of thing. So there's already going to be some duplication in your decks. And at a certain point, it's like, this is like almost entirely the same deck as one I put together earlier, except for maybe 3 cards. So just don't take Augur of Autumn. Okay, they take Bouncer's Beatdown. I just get another one back, which is awesome. And here, Armored Scrap Gorger can give me a 3rd mana if they don't kill it. They get to see everything else. And this is... they kill it already. And now see, that was kind of designed so that if I did get mana starved, I'd still be able to cast something. And now I can't even ramp because Arena, in its infinite wisdom, because we won our first battle, has already decided to make me skip a land drop. Alright, we have 2 Augur of Autumns, so we'll put down the spare. They'll just kill it. Okay, fine. Lots of removal, I see. And an on-curve Shieldred, of course. Of course it's an on-curve Shieldred, because why not? I guess we'll try and put down Gwenna. If they don't have counterspells and they don't kill Gwenna, we can actually take out Shieldred, but they're looking at Gwenna already like they have a 3rd removal spell. So they have one opening discard that's perfect for them to see. Oh, shoot. There goes Springleaf Avenger. And now I can't take care of Shieldred. So they get to go first, and Arena conveniently makes me skip a land drop so that I can't get things down in place in time. Because if I'd made my land drop, Gwen could already be down, and I could have beat that discard by a turn. Yet again, Arena make sure my opponent has all the land they need to cast their spells and nearly empty their hand. And the only reason my hand is as empty is because they're getting rid of it. It's just great. It's great. We'll do what we can. Come on. It's my turn. Vorinclex comes down. Yeah, try and do removal now. Ha! Oh, no, I don't want to target the Vorinclex. I want to target you with the Vorinclex's power. And they are heavy on removal, aren't they? This is still in the stack, so I still get to go look for the land. And I guess we're putting that down, and now we can afford to put down Augur of Autumn. And I wish that was something else, because I've got enough lands at this point. Thanks, Arena. Now you're going to flood me out instead. By the time they run through the removal, they'll have the second Shieldred top deck, right? The moment things don't go their way, suddenly it takes a really long time for them to figure out what to do. I'm sure they're just trying to choose which Blessed Lady here to completely destroy. Legendary Scout, Human Druid. Technically, I don't need Gwenna. Augur is more useful. But people are afraid of Gwenna. But they don't seem to understand. They already saw that I had this, right? I've got land. I don't need extra mana now. What I need is Augur's ability to play the land off the top of the library. Never mind, we're going to lose that ability now. And we're just flooding out with the land. Still. And that does us no good whatsoever. I mean, I guess I can just put it down now. And that way Adaptive gets one. But we can't get through the Sludge Monster. Not with what we've got. We don't have a ton of big creatures. Adaptive could get bigger. Oh, hello. You actually increased my toughness by 1. But this can no longer put counters on anything. Okay. I think we just bring this down. Just keep it there. Do we attack with everybody? How did Adaptive still get the... Did I miss something? Shouldn't this be grayed out? Or did Sludge Monster not do anything with him yet? Let's attack with these two. If Sludgy attacks and makes this a 2/2, he's still got the counter, so we can double block. Oh, you never put... Oh, no! That was a top deck. And we just got land. Thank you, Arena. Just completely useless. The only reason that the other side kept up with my land draw is because they had an extra draw spell. How much flooding out was that? they're going to make me want to go back to the 16 lands. The whole reason I decided to play this deck, and this is the frustrating thing about Arena, right? I play an almost identical deck, only have 16 lands, I'm doing pretty good. Then I come up against a mirror match, and that mirror match beats me soundly. So I figure, okay, that's a better deck. I bring out the deck and try and duplicate it, and look what happens. We flood out. Because we have the normal number of lands. Alright. You know that Arena's really stretching overtime. They have to do this to me more and more often. They don't just land starve me or land flood me. They make sure to make me miss a land drop in the beginning, and then they do nothing but land flood me later. And yet again, we're up against discard. I'm gonna go take out one land and put in one of the cards that punishes people for discard. Okay, so Gwenna's just more expensive now, right? We can't really bring anything else down just yet, so we bring down our tap land. Things are looking a little bit better for next round. That'll hit me. 1 damage to the Evolving Adaptive. And I never know if I'm pronouncing Palukranos or not. It's probably Palukranos or something like that. I haven't stopped to listen to anything. I quit playing Magic years back, so it was over 20 years ago. So I've got tons of history and stories to catch up on still. What do we do? It's a flyer. I feel like we should go ahead and get rid of it. I mean, we have reach, but still. It's exiled. They could have made it, you know, hexproof and indestructible if they wanted to. And they just put out another one. Because why not? Okay, Augur Bottom. Finally, we play land off the top. Kind of working a little bit now. Kind of behaving like the deck should behave. And they have exactly what they need. This is going to be an all-flyer deck. They get 4 damage to. They get to bring out the Deceptive. Oh, and they kill my Coiling Stalker too. Just as soon as I put out a Toughness 1, that's when they have the other battle. What a coinky dink. And now they have all the flying they want. It's just they have the same number of lands, they have extra battles, they have incapacitating enchantment, they have every creature is tougher than my creatures. I just have a lousy deck, don't I? Land goes into more land. Okay, let's go ahead and bring down... Use Gwen to bring down Doomscar Warrior. This will be our toughest creature, so we've got to keep everything here. And then we can still bring down Augur of Autumn. And that gives us the 3 different things. I can't activate this, can I? Activated abilities can't be activated. It does no good to attack. I think they can just fly over our heads for the most part and kill us in 2 turns. It's like you try to put together something that you see, something that beats you soundly, and then Arena comes up with 2 different ways in a row to showcase, oh hey, this is nothing. It makes you question your sanity. And yet another land. Whoop-de-doo. There's nothing in... There's no permanent that's going to help me. There's nothing that can stop the flyers. So I can go ahead and attack with this. And that's about it, right? Reveal a creature, and it's just another land. I mean, let's go ahead and sacrifice and draw. I mean, I've got all these combat spells. Let's use Gwenna. Let's use Gwenna to... No, let's use Gwenna to summon Gwenna. Just to see what's next under the deck. Still not a combat spell the entire time. All those spells that deal damage, and all I got was land and creatures. There's... You notice they got the combination of... They had all flyers, but they got the battles and the creatures. We didn't get any of our instants or sorceries. And this is kind of the difference between how all these decks that beat me that I'm making in this playlist, and I try and recreate them and they don't work, because Arena just gives me the same stuff. You know, I don't need all 3 Augur of Autumns in the first 4 or 5 draws. I need a mix of the different cards because that's where the combinations come from. And the shuffler's not giving me to them. Not in the way that I experienced them. And so all I need to do is experience this deck once used against me. And I get to see 7, 8 unique cards. And I can really reconstruct almost the entire deck just from it beating me once. But then I put it together. And, oh no, you can't have it. Now see, this is normal, right? I have not a whole lot of big creatures, but they gave me the 2 most expensive ones. The 2 most expensive cards in the opening hand. And the cards that I want to use as a surprise, they give me up front. But at least they did give me a mix this time of creatures and instants. Which the spies have to do because there's a team of spies at Wizards. There's at least 3 of them. I suspect there's 4. And they have to sort of accommodate me. After I start complaining about things, they hear my complaints and they fix the shuffler for the next round. So this is what it takes. 3 or 4 of them because they do this in real time, right? They've got to hear my complaint. They've got to rush to the computer. They've got to order a certain kind of shuffle. They still didn't give me the optimal draw, right? I've still got 2 dead cards I can't spend. Which makes the instance worthless, because there's no creatures out right now. And now there's no creatures on the field with which to use those instants again, so everything's still kind of been delivered backwards to me. But hey, look what they did. They did give me a mix of creatures and instants, didn't they? That's my 3rd most other expensive card. They get exactly what they need for their bombs. exactly what they need. And how many Monodorks do I have that are not coming up? All of the extra help that... Oh, thank you, spies from Wizards. Thank you for giving me... They'll probably remove it, but still. Thank you for at least listening to me. I'm half dead and they're just going to kill the gardener. I don't have enough mana to spend to cast even one of these spells. It had Death Touch. I could have killed one of these. But they have just the perfect mix, excuse me, instants and creatures, again, to kill me before I get a creature out that can stay. Alright, this is the most we can do. 6/6. This has the biggest impact right now because we can also get more land. Can't use it. It's too late. And they might have some direct damage. This is the only choice that can possibly keep us alive. That puts us down to 1. And look, they have exactly what they need. Just a completely different instant that makes sure to do lethal damage to me. 3 of my 5 costings. I'm going to go ahead and show you the deck again. Just to show you how much Arena hates me. And I've been complaining about this for a couple of weeks because we hit a change in the way they do the algorithm. It was very noticeable. I get punished for having extra cards in here. So I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 5-mana cards. Okay, 5 costing cast cards. What I basically said is if I have more than 2 of these, Arena's going to punish me because they're going to give me not just one of the most expensive cards in my hand like they used to. Under the old shuffler algorithm, you would get 7 card draw. You would get the most expensive card in your opening draw. That happened like every single day, multiple times in the day. And then they changed the algorithm, and suddenly I started getting 2 and 3. And so I had to go to only 2 5-drops in my entire deck. And others weren't allowed to, others weren't punished because others have like an Atraxa Itali, Breach the Multiverse deck, which already is like 12 5-drops or more, if not 7 drops. And they would hit that curve perfectly. But me, I would get 3 of my 5 drops and never enough land, and I'd get killed, as you just saw. So here, we have 4 Iguanas to help out with the mana draw, all right? We have an Armored Scrap Doger to also count out. We've got 2 Reclusive Taxidermists that add 1 mana of any color. So we've got the standard number of lands. We've got 24 total lands and 8 Mana Helpers with Deathbloom Gardener. 8 Mana Helpers, and we didn't get any of them. This is how Arena treats me. In the meantime, we're not getting to go first. This is, let me tell you the other thing that happened yesterday that I didn't record. I took out a deck for a spin that I like, that I kept. The Valet and the Shield. The combo is with the Devilish Valet and Myrel. And I have 4 copies of both in this deck. And I lost 6 games in a row. Out of the 4 copies of Myrel that are in that deck, Myrel showed up once in one of those 6 games, and it was immediately exiled with an obliterating bolt by the opponent. So, never got the combo off in 6 games. Not a 50% win-loss ratio. Lost 6 games in a row with that deck before I switched decks. They've changed the shuffler. I don't know if it's affecting just me, but the algorithm's changed. They can't do it forever, but they do it a lot. Enough that you notice the pattern. And it's not anecdotal when I'm recording these, and we've got them as a permanent display over the last couple of weeks. Because you can tell that the comments, if you're new, go ahead and subscribe. Go ahead and look at the last couple of weeks of videos, and you're going to start to feel like this is a rerun. because my comments are starting to always be the same. Alright, because I complained, they're not mana starving me. They gave me 3 lands instead of 2, and they gave me one of my mana. Oh, 2 mana dorks. Okay. What happened here? Milled 2 cards. Okay. What do we want to put down? How about a blocker? How about we get rid of the Ozolith? So I really can't afford that. That does let them ramp faster than me. But some things can't be helped. And let's go ahead and bring down the Evolving Adaptive. We'll go ahead and get rid of Ozolith so they can't bring it back. Green does have recovery spells. Opponent does not miss a land drop. They just have a second Ozolith. A second legendary, just ready to go. Because why not? And enough mana to use it already. Opponent chooses the right one. All right. Re-attack. Ninjutsu. Still not enough mana to do what we wanted because, in case you didn't notice, my opponent didn't miss a land drop, but I just missed a land drop. As usual. They got their extra mana help. They've gone through nearly their entire hand already. They got a full field and a way to pump it up and scale way beyond what we can handle. And what can we do? We can exile 1. That's all we can do. And in the meantime, we can't keep up with the Planeswalker.
There, in the tangle, I see a path to victory. Allies everywhere, stand with us!
I guess we're doing this. Down to 3. They finally give me the land. It's too late. I can't do enough. They can come back with the 3 land even if I kill the Beast Caller. There's nothing left to do. This is the deck that beat my other deck just fine. Maybe I should bring out my old deck. Just go back to 16 lands. We'll keep doing it. Eventually the team of Wizard Spice gets bored and they go away after I've had too many losses in a row. And they just let everything happen a little bit regularly. So someday I'm going to get a decent amount of land without getting flooded out. Someday it'll happen. I mean, it might be after 6 games in a row based on my experience with the other deck the other night. Master's Rebuke. Let's get rid of you while we can. We've actually got a slight advantage at the start. With our luck, that just means they're going to have a board wipe, but that's just the pessimist in me. Ooh, Shanna. Yeah, let's go ahead and attack with Coiling Stalker. This will give Augur a counter. And if they have one creature removal, we can still block with the other one. Alright, Deathbloom Gardener maybe? I think we keep that. And we don't have anybody who can get past the Ocean Medics, so we pass. So this is going to be a lifelink deck to capitalize off of Shanna's ability. There's a 1, 2, 3, which means we can now cast stuff from our library. There goes the land. And this may give us a chance against the opponent. Yep, they're going digging, trying to find an answer for us now. Do I want to bring that out straight onto... I can't really bust through... Yeah, let me just bring it out straight. That gets the Evolving Adaptive one more counter. We can bring the Reclusive Taxidermist out. And since they're tapped out, it's a good time to attack. They'll double block. They think that's a good deal. They get rid of my adaptive. I got rid of one lifelinker while they were tapped out and couldn't benefit from card draw. Okay, there's their flyer. And their flyer has lifelink. When it comes out, draw a card, play a land, Bouncer's Beatdown, target you, and you get exiled. Let's see. Are they tapped out again? No, they got one. just chump block. They don't double block. Oh, this doesn't matter if they get lifelink during my turn. It's the beginning of their end step only. Okay, I need... Well, I will take that. Land draw. Let's bring down another Augur of Autumn. And do they have any artifacts or enchantments involved here? That is an artifact creature. Perfect. I think we're good. Do I have anything that can get through the 1/4 still? No, I don't. Well, I have the Springleaf Avenger. They could double block again. This, in a lifelink deck, I'm kind of surprised they'd include this one unless they have some creatures somewhere that doesn't have lifelink, because the only benefit this enchantment does is to give them lifelink. So it's a completely worthless enchantment to put on any of these that we've seen. Everything else already has lifelink, so why would you include that particular card out of everything? Do we have anything else that's an artifact? That's an enchantment creature. So, you go away. Ooh, Vorinclex. Sweet. Use Gwenna for that. And here... Oh, they just quit. And this is finally what the deck did to me the other night. So I'm glad I was at least able to demonstrate how the deck works. I know we had a good opening hand, right? We always have a good opening. Because Wizards is always like not sure what we're going to do, which deck we're going to pull out. They've got to assemble the team and say, "Oh, Travis is playing. Here, let's go get in our special room and spy on his gameplay and sabotage him." But what I do is I log into the game, I go immediately into record, just take out my newest deck, go to town. That's why I usually win the first battle. And then I just outlast them through all the mandatory losses that they give me until the deck works again. Alright, we'll do one more. Again, not just one 5-drop, 2 5-drops in my opening hand. For evolving adaptives, they're not really showing up with a lot of frequency. The smart players usually pack a lot of early removal, and they're willing to use it on these little things, because those little things can get bigger later. And they recognize that, and they just nip it in the bud usually. In this case, it looks like the pre-made Balancing Act deck, which is a little bit different. We're just going to let that through. Ah, they know we have Death Touch. Okay, do I go for a big one? We can ramp if we do. We do Vorinclex to get the land. That way we don't miss a land drop. We can use Besieger whenever we want against one of these. In the meantime, if they use an exile enchantment, we have Silverback Elder to come back and rescue Vorinclex later and get more land out. This is kind of why we have some of the cards we have in the deck. Speak of the devil. They'll take Vorinclex. Don't mind if you do. Now see, I kind of want to have Gwenna out first. But I think if we put out the Silverback Elder, then we can at least get rid of the enchantment. Notice my opponent is not missing a single land drop. We had to get ramp from Vorinclex just to help us get to the 5 forests. Otherwise we weren't going to get it. They have artifact and enchantment, so they're getting all the benefits from Naomi. And this has Death Touch. They get a card draw from this. Yes. Okay, so Augur of Autumn comes down. We destroy target artifact or enchantment. We go get a couple of forests thanks to Vorinclex. And now, bring down Adaptive. What else do we have to do here? Those are all regular creatures, so gain 4 life. And then we're just bringing stuff off the top of our deck. Gain 4 more life. Bring down a land. I think we're done. Now we just want to build up a board. I don't think the Balancing Act deck has a board wipe, so... They've got Liesa, which can be the biggest pain. But we have a Vorinclex with Reach. We go ahead and activate Vorinclex now. I kind of want to get Defiler out and have fun with Defiler. But I want Gwen out to benefit from that first. Decisions. What are you doing? Oh, they've got the enchantment. They want to get out the extra samurai? Do you have a spell that's going to kill my Silverback Elder? You know what? I'm actually going to block with Vorinclex. Silverback Elder is going to destroy the enchantment in a second. Oopsie. Did you forget I could block? Oh, well, I was hoping to demonstrate the deck a little bit more, but I wasn't about to let them come through and just keep on hitting me. And this is kind of matching the pattern. This is the one... Oh, hello. How many of these do I have now? Do I have 4? It might be time for an artifact deck finally. If I have 4 of those finally. There's a lot of deck ideas I have. I've got probably like 50 ideas written on sticky notes all littering my computer. But a lot of them are like waiting for the 4th copy of a certain card. Now the problem that we have is, like you just saw, they come through, they slap us in the face, and then as soon as the board state is obviously in our favor, they just scoop rather than letting us play with our cards and show off the deck. And that's kind of what I want to have fun is for you all, just to be able to see some of the synergies when we get the combos going. You know, we have, I was looking forward to using Gwenna to summon down the Defiler, that we could then bring stuff in from using Augur's ability to play creatures off the top. It just really pops off quite nicely. But I think we need to do a better job of getting Wizards to get newer players on here so that I mean, when I was new, I would sit and watch in amazement as like the Scoot Swarms would create 1 million tokens and crash the server. You know, and I would sit through it all, even if it took me past midnight. And the other people who'd been around a little bit longer, because Arena had been around for, I think, a couple of years at least before I found it, you know, they'd appreciate it. You know, they'd say good game and stuff like that because they knew that it was hopeless. I was already going to get crushed. But I was staying through the end and letting these people play their cards. And it's hard to find people that will do that a lot of times now. So it makes it a little bit difficult to demonstrate some of these things unless we just want to go beat up on poor Sparky. But you'll see it's kind of like 50-50, right? We still have the same problems when we go back to the default 24 lands. We'll get starved, or we'll get flooded, or a combination of both in the same match. And sometimes, even though we have all of these, and I've done this before on a mono green deck about 3 or 4 months ago, where I made sure to have just so many of these extra creatures, not this one, but like things like Scrap Gorger that could just add 1 mana of any color. And I'd have like 12 of those in the deck, and I would have a match go by and I wouldn't get a single one of them, even though they were cheaper, right? They're all usually 2 or 3 drops, and I wouldn't get any of them, and I'd get land starved, all in the same time. And it was really disgusting, and some of that's repeating, but if we just hang in there, eventually we'll be able to do what I did and show you the deck. So, if you're new, go ahead and subscribe. Go check out the playlist of other decks that beat me, and you can see other people mopping the floor with me on Arena, and me just trying to create those decks later and show them to you. And I don't think that's going to stop anytime soon. We're going to have an endless playlist here of interesting decks that come up with ideas that completely annihilate me that I just want to show you later. So in the meantime, remember to hit the like button and leave any comments that you want on what you think of the deck and if you'd change anything. And that's all for this time. Thanks, everybody. Have a good one.